You're very welcome back. Now, struggling after the birth of her second child, our next guest sought support and in doing so found her calling in life.
We're delighted to welcome Roberta Hynes, birth doula, to the studio. Hello, Roberta, how are you?
Good morning, thank you.
It's lovely to have you here. What is a doula?
A doula is someone who'll come to your home and help you in a wellness way with emotional supports, evidence-based information, resources and practical help. And there are many different types of doulas in the way you'd have different solicitors for conveyancing, company law, civil law. There are different types of doula services. Fertility support is growing in popularity, birth doula support, postpartum, end of life. Some doulas provide the full range. They would be full spectrum doulas, and others specialise in one or more of those areas.
How would you differ from a midwife?
Midwives are medically trained. A doula is more the emotional support, helping you with your resilience, your confidence, reassurance, will help you in practical physical ways around the home. A midwife is in the hospital. A doula will come to your home and help you for, say, a number of weeks postpartum. If you've had a C-section and your partner's returning to work after 2 weeks, and then you're on your own otherwise. If you've had a preterm birth and you have anxiety around bringing home at discharge preterm babies, or you have twins and multiples and just need extra pair of helping hands around the home and some emotional support to help you with your resilience. It can be a lonely time, it can be a vulnerable time, feelings of overwhelm, and having someone come and help you and give you that reassurance has many benefits to it.
So by practical, do you mean like you'll be there for, say, someone postpartum, you know, not quite knowing what's going on, could be their first child, having never gone through this before, but might you be like, OK, I'm going to go into the kitchen, I'm going to do some batch baking so you don't have to think about cooking. So you don't, like, is it that sort of stuff? Then kind of like, OK, we're going to do breastfeeding, or we're going to get stuff ready?
So feeding positions, feeding techniques, so with bottles, washing and sterilising of bottles, safe bottle preparation. It can be things like providing evidence-based information resources on baby wearing, safe co-sleeping, safe sleep habits, lots of practical help, as well as what you mentioned there. But also things like stripping and changing the bed sheets after the night sweats or you're bleeding. If you've had a C-section, you can't do that for yourself. As well as looking after the baby, doing nappy changes, baby bath, umbilical cord washing. The parent might want to have a nap or a shower, but feel reluctant to leave the child alone. But having someone else in the home with them who's trained can give them that confidence to say, yes, I can go have a shower, I can go have a nap. Someone is supervising my baby whilst helping with other tasks.
What drew you to become a birth doula?
So unfortunately, my husband and I, we had 5 losses, 5 miscarriages and 2 traumatic births. And during my postpartum period after our second child, I did struggle. I naively thought I'd had a child already. I knew how to take care of a newborn. But things with my second child were different, and I was overwhelmed, I was struggling. And unfortunately, over those months postpartum, I did develop a postpartum mood disorder. I had postpartum anxiety and hypervigilance. And it was at one of the local breastfeeding groups that another mom mentioned her friends had pooled together and got a voucher for a postpartum doula. And I'd never heard of the service. And when she started describing what was involved, I just felt this calling to say, I would love to help others not go through the experience that I had. So I trained to become a birth and postpartum doula. I provide help to women, maybe a solo mom or an LGBTQ couple, new parents, families that have moved to Ireland from abroad and maybe have different cultural expectations around support. I'm there and other doulas around the country to help individuals navigate the process and give them that confidence and that resilience through that early postpartum time.
How was it after your second child? You said you obviously struggled hugely because you'd had a miscarriage, your first child, 4 miscarriages, and then you had your longed-for second child, of course.
Absolutely.
So you must have been so happy, but then it didn't pan out the way you wanted, as you said. Was it a very difficult period for a long time? Did you get the support you needed?
I did. My husband realised I was struggling, and he gently encouraged me to get help. By that time, I was months into it, and I did seek help from the Holles Street Mental Health Department. Unfortunately, in Ireland, through the maternity system, you're discharged at 6 weeks. So you have your baby, and then at 6 weeks you have a checkup, and then the postpartum mental health team are available for 6 months, but then you get discharged to your GP. So it's quite complicated to be able to avail of supports. And I did struggle after the birth of our second child. I found myself overwhelmed. We were having some challenges. He had tongue tie. We were having challenges with breastfeeding. And again, I naively thought, well, I breastfed our first child. Things work. I should be able to do this. And then I felt this lot of self-doubt and anxiety around my abilities as a parent. And I do feel that had I had the support of a postpartum doula early on to give me reassurance, those seeds wouldn't have grown the way they did for those months postpartum. And that's why I retrained and now offer the service along with many other doulas around the country.
So what does the training entail?
It's a number of months. Some courses are online, some courses are in person, and we go through a number of modules on newborn care, breastfeeding challenges, preterm births, comfort measures for birth. A number of doulas will provide birth support in combination with a partner. So it's not just for solo moms who may wish to have a birth partner with them. Often couples will book a birth doula to accompany them to the hospital as well. The reason being is that continuity of care. You may find that during your labour, you could be there 20 hours and you might meet a number of midwives over that time, 4 or 5, because of shift changes and breaks. And it means that you have someone there with you who knows your birth plan, knows your birth preferences, has got to know you as a couple, what kind of sense of humour you have, what sort of comfort measures you prefer. They've asked all those questions beforehand, whereas a delivery midwife has only just met you and doesn't know all the little quirks about your personality and your body to be able to best advocate for you for your birth plan and offer suggestions for comfort measures.
And it's talking to women about their birth plans. You know, a lot of my friends have a birth plan and that goes out the window once you go, like anything can happen, and we all know that, and that can be tough for people to do.
It can.
You moved from, you know, you were an IT worker for years and you've gone into this. What is the regulations around being a doula? Because we know when it comes to a medical profession, you know, you're going to college, you're doing all that kind of stuff. What are there regulations?
At the moment there aren't, but we are seeking to be regulated as part of the CORU system.
Okay.
And there is training required. I'm a member of the Irish Trade and Professional Association for Doulas that have requirements in order to become a member to have done appropriate suitable training course, be Carta vetted, the TUSLA Child First course, have professional insurance. So we are seeking to be regulated as an industry. So for anyone looking for a doula, I'd recommend have a look at itpad.ie. It's the Irish Trade and Professional Association for
Well,
doulas.
reading here, there's over 200 doulas currently working supporting families in Ireland. Like, cost-wise, because you're coming in an extra pair of hands.
Yes.
I'd say it's not cheap, is it?
It depends where you live, it depends on the service and for how long you'd like the service. A birth doula package could be anything from €1,800 to €2,500. That would include antenatal sessions, the entire...
For what sort of length would that be?
3-hour sessions, maybe 3 or 4 sessions over antenatal time. You might meet with a couple at week 20, week 34, 37, 39, get to know them, help them prepare their home for bringing baby back, help set up nappy change areas, organise clothes, go through the birth plan, birth preferences, the birth, and then postpartum sessions.
And how do you get on with the medical community? Like, is there any, is there sort of friction there, or is it all good?
It's wonderful to collaborate with midwives.
Yeah.
They understand that we've gotten to know the couple, and unfortunately not all midwives who may be with you for their 8-hour shift get to meet the baby because they might have to go home, and they know that there's a doula there who's gotten to know the couple and is there to help them with comfort measures and advocate for their preferences. There's a lot of collaboration between doulas, midwives, lactation consultants, physios, GPs,
Right.
Helping to be one piece of the puzzle for families.
Well, we'd love to hear from you at home about this. If you ever used a doula, 0896 111 111. You're on Doula Help. Roberta Hynes, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thanks a million.
Thank you, Roberta. There you have it. Yeah, get in touch. We'd love to hear from you on that. Lots more Ireland coming up after this short break.